It's a quick Saturday 21st of June allotment trip, or a bit of wind and no microphone, but basically just a quick welfare trip. We're having a look, see if anything needs a bit of water. So as you can see, these pumpkins in the middle here are looking a little bit droopy, but they'll be fine. We don't need to water them right now. I'd rather not water at this time of day if I can avoid it. I'm not sure if these padrons are going to recover. They just didn't like the move from the indoors to the outdoors, despite the weather. But oh well. These sweet corns are really perking up. But the main purpose of the welfare check is really to check the greenhouses and stuff. And as you can see, we do have a bit of wilting going on here. We didn't water yesterday. We only watered on Thursday. But that was quite a deep watering. Mostly things are not looking too bad. That is me tripping over the little barrier I put in. Oh well. Yeah, he's looking a bit terrible. So I think a little bit of water in here. We don't know what's going to happen with these okras. They're not looking the happiest either. But oh well. I'll point that at the okra properly. That's the okra. So that one's still got some leaves. That one's still got some leaves. This one has basically no leaves. It's all shriveled up. And this one actually has some leaves growing back after losing its leaves. So there is some hope for them, I guess. We shall see. And we do have a couple of spare okras down here, which we might plant into the really dead spots later today when it's cooled down a bit. It is supposed to basically be the hottest day of the year so far this year. They had predicted over 30, 32 was actually the forecast, but that has actually dropped now, and the maximum forecast right now is actually only 29, which for this part of the world is actually kind of warm and considered a bit of a heat wave. Obviously, where we grew up, it's almost a normal summer. But we could really do with some rain. I don't want colder weather, but I'd like wetter weather, ideally. How are things looking over here? Yeah, a bit of wilting going on, but it's not too bad. And all these things that we've planted out are mostly looking pretty good. We've lost a couple of perrillas down there. But I think part of that is it's hard to see in the perspective in the camera, but there's a lot of burrowing going on, and that seems to upset some of the plants. But that is a whole other problem. Yeah, a bit wilty over here in the beetroot department. Okay, well, let's crack on with that watering. But today's not supposed to be a big allotment day. That's tomorrow, Sunday. We'll probably do this watering now and then pop back down again later in the day to do a couple of other things and enjoy the later day sunshine. Okay, into the polytunnel, grab my watering cans. This has just been a short sort of hour-long trip, mainly about the watering on Saturday. We'll be back a bit later today. Might dig these holes that I was talking about a moment ago for the frame for the pear tree, and come back tomorrow, and tomorrow of course Sunday is our main allotment day. Okay. Well, it is 7 p.m. on Monday the 23rd of June. In my last bit of video was Saturday early afternoon, I think, and said we'd be popping down here, and later that afternoon or evening, and that didn't happen, and then Sunday didn't happen because I'm just a bit rubbish. I was not feeling into it. I was pretty exhausted on Sunday, and the weather was just not friendly. But anyway, I've come here straight from work, and Kat is here before me and has started preparing this bit of bed here I was talking about, so we can get some beans and stuff in to do the bean arch across these two beds. This bed here will eventually spread across and become another large bed like the one next to it here. But my primary purpose to be down here is to dig a hole. More than one hole, hopefully. I'm using the trusty post hole digger here. which makes a nice narrow deep hole pretty well. It's a great tool actually. This is just a absolutely basic one I got from Wix. It's even got the Wix sticker on it still, and we've used that for digging all the post holes here in the last couple of years. So I've got to dig a couple of holes back where we just were for the pear tree. That's what I used to dig this hole here as well, but that was just to lever the poo out of the van, as I said in some previous video I think. So I've got to dig 4 holes down here for the front posts. I don't know if that's a today job, but the key thing today is basically to dig this hole here on the right that I've already started that the other day, and then sort of do a mirroring hole over that side of the tree there. So we'll basically have a vertical post there, vertical post here, and we'll put something across that we can then tie that tree back to, and that will form the basis for building a bigger frame around which we can actually kind of start to espalier this pear tree. This pear tree is really lean and heavily at the moment, and it's got a lot of fruit forming on it. I don't know how many of these fruit will hold, but it's pretty mad. It's probably got too many, but I don't know much about growing pears or pear trees, but that's what we got. So time to dig this hole. I could play that I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole song, but that's probably copyrighted. Okay, that's the chilies sorted. There's lots of spare chilies. We've got sort of one of everything in the greenhouse, as I'm sure I've mentioned before, but we had more than we could fit in here, so I've just planted some over in the polytunnel. These are spares and also potting chilies. So we've got some that are just for pots, like the Kang Stars and the Bequinos that I don't want to plant out. We don't have anywhere to put them anyway, and they are the spares. But yeah, we overdid the chilies, as is often the case. But key job done is these 2 posts are in. I'm going to have to get some sort of CLS or something to put between them to complete that frame to tie that pear back to, and they're going to need some sort of a 45-degree supports at the bottom, I reckon, just to make sure they've got extra rigidity and they don't just get pulled over by the tree. So yeah, so the quick job I just did now was there's a couple of chilies there, a Y3, a Y7, and then an X14 in the corner behind this coriander, which we're drying the seed on. And then there's a Y12 there, and right down the end here I've thrown in a X11, one X11. That just replaces a tomato that died, but otherwise the tomatoes are doing pretty well. Just that one little one there was not a happy chappy, so he's a chili now. But yeah, I don't know how much time the chilies will have to grow, but it's not July yet. We've got time. July, August, maybe into September. So yeah, I'm going to grab that tray of stuff, which is to go home for potting up and planting in the greenhouse, and head off. It's about 20 past 8. So this week I'm going to try and come down here for an hour or so each day to try and make up for my uselessness on the weekend. See how we go. I've got a work from home day tomorrow. So that gets me down here early in the evening, and work from home day on Wednesday, but I've got to take the old Volvo for its MOT, fingers crossed. But hopefully we'll get back from that early enough to do a bit more down here. But yeah, anyway, it's home time, and we'll be back down here again tomorrow. Well, it has just gone past 8:30 p.m. on Thursday, the 20-somethingth of June. June's nearly over, in fact. This week has definitely not gone to plan. I can't even remember what I said in previous videos. Probably I had plans in those videos and they definitely haven't happened. But other stuff has happened. We did some house stuff on Tuesday, Wednesday, working from home this week. And Wednesday, the Volvo passed its MOT. So that's big news. We can haul stuff again. We've got a car of a decent size. As you can see in here, the tomatoes are doing their thing. They're absolutely shooting up. And there's some pretty massive side shoots in here that I need to sort out. In fact, some of them are so big you can't tell which one's the leader anymore. But, I have just harvested a bit of basil in here, mainly picking out the tops. Some of them were starting to flower, so get to nip them out. And I've just been down here on the way back home from work to water. I think in the last video here we put these posts in either side of the pear tree here, so that was probably the last thing I covered. I have just been watering around the place, like I said, and one thing I have noticed is that some burrowing bastard has got into the greenhouse. It probably doesn't show up very well on the phone camera. You can sort of see the cracked ground there, and it's raised up, and that kind of, there's a whole path that sort of goes all the way around here and through there and there. And I was pouring water on these things and it was just disappearing into these holes and vanishing. So I don't know how much burrowing's happened under there, but what really needs to happen is we need to get in and stamp it all down again. Not great, not great. It's a perennial problem on this plot. But yeah, we have an idea of maybe watering the whole place with garlicky water regularly to discourage them. Apparently that's a thing that might work. We'll see. So I don't know what's ahead. We've got Friday tomorrow and then the weekend, and there's some hot, scorchy weather around here for England parts anyway, by local standards. And things are going to be dry. But I've also got the family coming from Australia. My sister and her family and my mum coming next week. So we're going to have to get some prep done for that as well. We've been slowly trying to chip away at things at home, as well as fit in allotment progress. So there's quite a lot to do really. But that's probably going to be the focus of the next few days. I'm hoping to get at least one allotment day in, and we'll see how it goes. But as ever, everything fights for the same limited time. And I think I had this picture of the sun setting behind the polytunnel previously. Yeah, that yellow reminds me, we've started to get some yellow spray paint onto those corners for the raised beds. And I spent a bit of time yesterday spraying out the end of a tin onto them, but I need to go pick up some full tins of that stuff. Anyway, hopefully I'll cram a video together tonight and get this out there with a rough, quick edit. We'll see. But it's time to head home with my little haul of basil and see what's for dinner.